There we are. What's up? Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us for another afternoon devotion. Especially, I think we may have some joining us today for the first time. So if you are new, welcome. Say hi in the chat. Let me know who's out there and jumping in on this. I'm appreciating everybody that's joining us for this. Let's get started. So we always like to start with what we're thankful for. I see Luke checking in, thankful for his friends. For me today, I'm just really thankful for a great morning at worship yesterday. Excellent, as always, music from Pastor Brian, the praise team. Really great stuff from Pastor Rob in the sermon. Just really, really have enjoyed the series the last couple of weeks. So really thankful for those things. Let me know what you are thankful for today. I see got some others checking in. Alec is thankful for anything but school. Okay. All right. And Eric is thankful for outside. So appreciate you guys. Others, let me know what you're thankful for today. Let's encourage one another with that. All right. So quarter team game. So if you are new, every time, for every one of these devotions, we'll do a little trivia question. Okay. So I'm going to give you real quick the question and the answer from last time, and I'll tell you who won, and then I'll give you a new question for today. So you can, if you're watching live, you can leave your answer in the chat. If you're watching later, leave a comment under the video, or find a way to text me or email me or something. Send me your guess, and all guesses just need to be logged in before the next video starts in 3 days. And whoever gets the closest gets a quarter. So something simple, but something fun. So anyway, let me know just what your guesses are of this. And again, as a quick reminder, no Googling, just guesses. It's for fun. Let's have a good time with it. So anyway, last time we talked about how last Thursday was like International Left-Handers Day or something like that. I forget exactly how it's phrased. So we just sort of asked the question like, okay, what percentage of men and what percentage of women are left-handed? All right. So pretty similar answers, honestly. More or less worldwide, 10% of people are left-handed. So about 11% of men are left-handed and about 9% of women are left-handed. So our closest guesses, Emmy guessed 6% for men. That was closest. And Alec guessed 10% on the men. That was closest to the 9. So Emmy and Alec each get a quarter today. So today's question, today is I Love My Feet Day. I don't know who comes up with these things, but today's I Love My Feet Day. So here's your totally random, weird, off-the-wall question. Maybe you're familiar with Robert Wadlow, who lived in this area, tallest man to ever live. As far as I know, the largest feet ever recorded as well. So the question today is, what size shoe did Robert Wadlow wear? What size shoe did the largest man in history wear? All right, so there's your question. Again, in the chat, in comments after the fact, whatever. Send me your guesses. Let me know what you think, and we'll have some fun with that. All right, so let's talk about Esther. This will be our final devotion in terms of Old Testament women of the Bible. We'll start New Testament on Wednesday. This was interesting. So a couple of things. First of all, Esther. Obviously, we're going to find her story in the book of Esther. I think y'all know the story pretty well, especially for those of you that have been in the youth group. We had our Purim party back in February, late February, early March, which is sort of a celebration of what happened in Esther. We read the whole story. So I think y'all are probably pretty familiar with the story of this Jewish girl who was living in Babylon, Persia, while the Israelites were in captivity, and ends up becoming queen, and finds out this plot to destroy the Jews. Her cousin or uncle Haman or Mordecai finds this out, tells her, says, hey, look, you need to stand up to the king and you need to put a stop to this somehow or another. And this is not an easy thing for her to do. She cannot just go in and talk to the king unannounced or uninvited. But she, has to sort of find a way to do that, ask for the Jewish people to pray for her, and goes through this whole thing, and ends up, sort of turning the tables on Haman, the bad guy. And God is working behind the scenes and saves, not just protects Esther and Mordecai, but ends up saving the whole Jewish race. And so it's a really fascinating story. I will say, like, look, I've told you guys, I've sort of asked some of our current youth, former youth, girls, like, who's your favorite woman in the Bible? Esther was definitely the most popular answer for that. And I will say this, for me, I think Ruth is probably my favorite person, character. Esther might be my favorite story. It's just such a cool story. But I really want to focus on the character as much as anything today. We could go on and on and on about the story and everything. But so I want to start with just sort of sharing some of these testimonies about people who look up to Esther. So like I said, this was the most popular. I got several. So a young lady named Becca Start, who used to be in our youth group a few years ago, she said that she really looked up to Esther's boldness, which I love. She talked a lot about how much she sees God's sovereignty in this story. Again, like how God is just sort of pulling the strings and working all this stuff behind the scenes, and in control of all of it. Well, there's a lot of lessons there. And how brave she was that she faced her fears, which I think is a really good definition of courage, not just the absence of fear, but being able to be obedient and face that fear anyway. Emmy said that she loved Esther for her courage. Beth said that she really looked up to Esther because of her faith through all that she had to go through. Alex had graduated from youth group just a couple years ago, talked about how she loved Esther's faithfulness and her courage. I love this line, even when it wasn't safe. Man, that's such a good point, that it wasn't easy, it wasn't safe, but Esther went through those things anyway. And then also Kate Miller, who was part of our youth group a couple years ago and moved out of state. She said that Esther was her favorite as well. She loved how Esther was willing to risk her life for her people, which I love, just that perspective that it wasn't just about her. Loved her perseverance, loved her humility as well. So I think if you hear those things, you can probably hear some themes coming out there, right? About Esther's courage, about her faith, and how those two strands sort of run through that entire story. So there's a lot more that we could get into, but let me boil things down really quickly, just into 3 simple lessons that I think we can learn from Esther, things that we can imitate in Esther. First of all, to be brave, to face your fears. Again, courage and bravery is not just the absence of fear. We all have things in our life that may strike some level of fear in us and that we're going to have to face. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's being willing to be obedient, to do what's right, to do what's needed, even when we're afraid and even when it's hard. So let's face those things and follow the Lord, even when it's hard and even when it scares us. Second thing is to have faith and be faithful. And really those things are linked in terms of faith and fear, that I think for us to be able to face our fears and overcome those things, there has to be a level of faith in God, right? That this is hard for me, but God's going to give me the ability to do it because this is something that he wants. And Esther definitely exemplifies that she did not want to do what she was asked to do. She knew it was going to be hard. She knew she was afraid of that, but she was willing to do it anyway because of her faith in God to see her through that. And that's something that we can definitely imitate. The final thing that I want us to see today is just the fact that God wants to use us. God wanted to use Esther. He had her in a special place for a special time and a special task. But God wants to use each of us. Before becoming queen, Esther wasn't necessarily anybody spectacular. Average girl in a lot of ways. We probably feel more like that, right? God wants to use you, and he has you where you are in this time and place. The people that are in your life are in your life for a reason. You are exactly where God wants you to be for such a time as this. So maybe there are people in your life that are difficult, or maybe there's situations in your life that are difficult. God has you there for a reason. And just like he used Esther, he can use you to be a blessing and an encouragement to other people, maybe even to bring the gospel to them. So the final thing that I just want to encourage you with is God wants to use you. So just like Esther, be willing and be obedient to respond to that. So I hope that's an encouragement to you guys. And many thanks to those of you who reached out and talked about your favorite things about Esther. I really appreciate that. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great night, a great week. We'll check in again Wednesday at 3:00, and we will start our New Testament ladies with Elizabeth. So that's it. I love you guys. We'll see you later.